One of the things that really struck me this last year in the research that we did was how few organizations were adopting AI at the enterprise level, but how many individuals are using AI in their daily life. Then I had to just stop and laugh at myself. I'm like, well, that's the way it always happens. It
Yeah.
always starts with the individual. So when we first started talking about launching this podcast, I feel like we are absolutely at the right time and the right place to do this.
Welcome to the HR Huddle podcast, presented by Sapient Insights Group, the ultimate resource for all things HR. It's time to get in the huddle.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the HR Huddle. I'm your host, Teri Zipper, the CEO and managing partner at Sapient Insights Group. And I'm back for something new, the pivot effect. This is a new podcast that we're just kicking off. And I want to introduce my co-host, Susan Richards, the founder and my partner at Sapient Insights Group.
Hi,
Welcome,
everybody.
Susan.
I am excited to be here. I think this is going to be so much fun.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. We've had a lot of great success with the huddle, and this new podcast, I think, is going to be a little bit of a divergence for people. So if you're feeling stuck, if you feel like you're following rather than leading, if you want to lead, if you feel like you've outgrown what you're doing and you want to do more, we got you. This is the show where we're going to talk about you. We want to talk about you as an employee, as a leader, as a mentor, as a coach, what's possible and how to get there. We're going to focus on the skills and capabilities you're going to need to be able to thrive in this new future of work, regardless of what the work is that you do, because there's always a future. So I'm super pumped about this, Susan. I just welcome to the world of podcasting. I know you've been on my show a few times, but being a co-host is going to be very different. I'm not used to it, but I'm sure we're going to have a blast doing this show.
I have no doubt, and I'm going to be learning from the absolute best in the industry. I am a novice, and I'm probably going to make some mistakes, and y'all are probably going to get to laugh at me, and that's okay because I tend to laugh at myself on a regular basis. I'm super excited about this new series of podcasts. We've spent the last few years kind of in the wilderness, struggling to figure out what does the world of work and the future look like with AI and with all the geopolitical turmoil and struggles and things changing faster than we can keep up with. We have so many disruptions in our regular world, and it kind of turned dystopian a little bit. I really feel hopeful about the future, and I think we're on the verge of a revolution, and I think it's going to be really positive for organizations and for individuals and for leaders inside of organizations. And I want to share that with folks and explore that topic or that series of topics with you and within our sapient.
Yeah, I'm really excited. I've spent the last, I guess, 3 years, maybe a little 3+ years doing HR. We have a problem. And we covered a lot of ground. Just so you know, that podcast is going to continue to live on, and Cliff Stevenson is going to be leading that podcast and talking to the market. So you can still hear HR, we have a problem. But the pivot effect, I'm excited about because I spent a lot of time focusing on the organization and what we needed to do differently as an organization, how to thrive, where we were running into problems, how to fix those problems, what we needed to be thinking about for the future. And less so, I got towards the end, I really started getting excited about talking about individuals because, no matter what you're doing in an organization, you're still an individual and you still have your own, course that you're trying to create. You still have the things that you're thinking about as that individual about where you want to go, what you want to do, what's going to be best for your career. and then how you work with and help others. And I think that, that was the thing that started sticking with me. And given the work that we've been doing around people and leadership and coaching and
And
culture,
culture and change.
exactly, and team dynamics and just, all of the things that we've been doing there, it just
Yeah.
felt like this was the right time to talk about us,
Yeah,
right?
and it does all start at the individual level, whether we're talking about a culture or a transformation of some sort or a change. It really does start at the individual level. And I think the individual has gotten lost in this world of work and the try how AI is going to impact our organizations. And I think one of the things that really struck me this last year in the research that we did was how few organizations were adopting AI at the enterprise level, but how many individuals are using AI in their daily life. And then I had to just stop and laugh at myself. I'm like, well, that's the way it always happens. It
Yeah.
always starts with the individual. So when we first started talking about launching this podcast, I feel like we are absolutely at the right time and the right place to do this.
Yeah, I think it's the right time. And, as I look at the future, one of the things I see changing about the dynamics and the workforce and, AI aside, right? We know the world of work is going to change. And that's one of the things we want to talk about on this podcast is what's that going to look like and how do we interpret it and how do we start to engage ourselves in it. I think about the level of direction that people are going to need, or
Yeah,
it's going to be very different. And so for those people who have been using AI, their version of AI to help them do their job, they're already thinking about that, right? They're
hmm,
taking their own direction. They weren't waiting for the organization to say, hey, here's your tool, go do, this is how you do it, go do this. They
yeah, we
were
call those
already,
early adopters.
yeah, they were already deciding how am I going to use Claude or ChatGPT or the plethora of these solutions that are out there right now.
Yeah,
Uh, yeah, pick a
pick one, pick
name.
20.
Yeah, then the names keep changing, so it's
I
hard to keep
know.
track. They've already been thinking about, I gotta get rid of some of this work because this work is, it's rote, it's routine. I can do it. I don't need to do that. I need to be thinking about what the future is going to look like, how I can make us better, how I can improve our products, our services, our customer relationships, all of those things. And I can't do that if I'm busy trying to do these routine tasks.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
so
And at the same time, Terry, I think there's some fear out there of, oh my goodness, if the robots take over and do my work that I'm really comfortable with, I may not like it. It might be boring, but I know how to do it and it helps me fill my 40 hours or my 60 hours or my 80 hours a week.
yeah,
And that's how I generate my paycheck. I think there's some fear out there. And what I really hope we're able to do with this podcast is widen that aperture a bit and open up new ideas and people thinking about new opportunities and not just thinking about them, but seizing new opportunities. Every time we have a evolution or a revolution or a major change, as many things that go away who 10x new opportunities are opened up. And I do believe the sky is the limit at this point with how individuals can take advantage of this kind of wild, wild west frontier that we're in. I think there's a
yeah,
lot of gold to be mined out there.
there's a lot of gold to be mined. And I mean, so much of it, Susan, goes right back to our roots, like change.
Yeah,
How are we going to adapt to the change? And we're always doing that. We've been doing it forever in our careers. There's always something new coming down the pipe. But this is bigger. It's different. It's, as you said, it's scary a little bit for some, maybe not for others. Really depends, I think, on where you are in your career life cycle and what you want to
yeah,
do, But
yeah,
I think there's methods, there's ways to think about these things. There's ways to attack these problems. And I think that's one of the things that we're going to spend a lot of time on this show talking about how to help people grow in that way.
Yeah. It's been really interesting talking to friends and colleagues and clients who all have different perspectives on this kind of world of work and how do I as an individual fit into it, or how do I strike out on my own journey and carve my own path. We've been doing that our entire careers as consultants, as Generation X, that, we were that first generation that said, no, we're not going to stay in the same job for our entire career. We're going to change it up and we're going to do something for a couple years and then we're going to go work somewhere else. Um, we have lived that life our entire careers. And I remember one of my very favorite partners at one of those big firms that I used to work for said, if you aren't recreating or reinventing yourself every 3 to 5 years, then you're going to get left behind. And that's really stuck with me. The pace of that has sped up. I feel like we're
Yeah.
reinventing ourselves and reinventing the things that we do with our clients now every year instead of every 3 to 5 years. And I think that's going to continue to speed up. And at the same time, I think we have some great lessons and some good war stories that we can share with our friends and our colleagues on this podcast going forward.
Yeah, I'm excited. The intent of this first podcast was to really get you guys excited about what we were going to talk about. But my head's already rolling. I'm like thinking, okay, Teri, don't jump into that topic right now. Like we don't have time to cover that.
Well,
But
I
there,
feel like we're
there's
sort of
just
riding a roller coaster and we're like getting to the top of the hill and we can't really see what's coming next. It's going to be awesome.
yeah, yeah. But there's so much stuff. And so, I think, like I said, this first podcast was really just to introduce our audience to what we're going to do. We really want you along for the ride. Really hope that you want to hear some of the things that we're going to be talking about, some of the work that
I
we're doing.
promise it's going to be fun. Promise fun.
It's going to be great fun. One of the shows we have coming up soon, we're going to be talking about where you work matters. And if you haven't checked that out yet, brand new, just launched. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but go check out the website. This is data that's going to be amazing for the market. And not just for employers, but for employees as well, and candidates and people who are looking to do exactly what we're going to do on this show, thinking about their career, building their career, making their own path, kind of developing that roadmap. There's going to be data out there that's going to be really helpful to you. And we're going to talk about that on an upcoming show and even have somebody on to talk about it with us and kind of what they're seeing in that. So this is brand new, just launched within the last month. Check it out and look forward to hearing more about that on the next show. Susan, anything you want to leave the audience with today before we jump off and plan our next episode?
One of my core values is fun. And I know fun can be lots of different things for lots of different people. But I am really excited about this particular opportunity for us to have some fun together and to have fun with our guests and to share a little bit of our joy and our optimism with the colleagues who come along on this journey with us.
Yeah, one of the things I'm thinking about, and sometimes we just make this up as we go along. I'm thinking I'd love to hear from people who want to share their journey.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be fun to have some people on this show that could talk about how they pivoted or, what they did and how they made the leap or just, what their journey was like overall. And at some point we can talk about our journeys because they're both pretty interesting.
Yeah. And
But
and you don't have to be at the end of your professional journey for us to
no,
have this conversation. I'm already thinking about somebody that I want to invite, and she is in the middle of an amazing journey and has had a couple of pivots that are life-changing.
yeah. Yeah. Ooh, it's going to be exciting. So listen, if you're listening to this, Susan and I are both on LinkedIn. Send us a message. Let us know what your journey was like and if it's something that you'd like to share or talk about. So coming up next week, I think everybody knows the Stacy and Cliff will be on talking and spilling the tea on HR tech. And then as I mentioned earlier, Cliff's going to run HR We Have a Problem. So be on the lookout for that. Um, we're excited to bring these shows to you and would love any input that you have. So thanks for joining us today. I want to thank Susan, my new co-host.
Oh, I feel so loved.
To keep this going. I want to thank our producers, the Brand Method Media Group, our marketing team, and I want to thank you for tuning in. That is all the time we have for this episode of The Pivot Effect. If you enjoyed this episode, you can subscribe to it on your favorite podcast app. Leave us a review. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you'd like to hear about. These are the things that we're going to be talking about over the coming months. And we will be back next month with more tactics and strategies for your future. Thanks, everybody.
See you next time.